What's going on, everybody? Welcome to, honestly, my personal, I guess, my shows here. I'm doing a live right now on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, and I'm actually testing out some technology. We're working on some some podcast things that we got coming up. We are working on webinars that we have coming up, and so we're just testing some technology out. And if you're watching this right now on Facebook, you're a part of our test run. So thank you. Thanks for hanging out. We're working on some podcast things that we got coming up. Working on with us webinars that we have coming up, and so we're just testing some technology out. And if you're watching this right now on Facebook, so my Facebook feed was actually open on another screen, so I was hearing myself. So the good news is the live stream's going through on Facebook. So anyways, I wanted to go ahead and interview a couple of my friends here, and I'm going to invite them into our stream. So for those of you that are watching on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for hanging out. But I want to introduce you to two of my friends, Caleb and Connor. So would you do me a favor, right where you're at, just go ahead. I know it's silly. Welcome them. We can't hear you, but you can just go ahead and welcome them. Come on, I hear the crowd's like, ah.
Thank you.
There he is. All right. Yeah, so welcome, Caleb. You have a dog with you.
I do. This is my dog. His name's Link.
Link.
And he's the man.
Look at that guy.
Link looks awesome, bro. What is Link, bro?
Link is a corgi golden mix.
Wow.
So cute.
So he's a mutt.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Great. Yeah. I love how dog owners always try to make their dogs seem amazing when they're mixed. They're like, oh, and it's always a lab. I'm glad you didn't say lab, because anytime you ask somebody, they're like, oh, he's half lab and like something, and totally. It's like, you look at some of these dogs, you're like, that's not a lab. There's no lab in that. But you didn't even lead with that. You're like, it's a corgi and, what was the other one?
A golden retriever.
Okay, so you went with a golden retriever, though. That's another staple mix.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't end it with corgi, golden retriever, and we think there's a little bit of lab in there, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. But yeah, I love dogs, and I had a mutt growing up. He was a Chihuahua Terrier mix, and we think a little bit of lab in there, that's what we had, little tiny dog. And what's his dog's name? What's your dog's name?
Link.
Link. There it is, a Link. That sounds like you got that from Zelda.
I did.
Yeah, nice. All right, so
unashamed.
You're unashamed. That's right. Unashamed. 100%. Tell everybody, what do you do?
So I'm a graphic designer at Journey Church here in Lake Worth, Florida.
Yeah. So graphic designer, your world just kind of got completely changed in the last couple days, right?
Oh yeah, to a huge degree.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, man. Well, I actually also have the privilege of overseeing social media at the church too, so I kind of get to do both of those things. And
right.
Those things have become both things that are very, very, very much needed now. If they weren't before, they definitely are now. So everything has been elevated, which is It's an awesome, privilege to be able to steward that and steward it as best as I possibly can. And yeah, things are very interesting. That's for sure.
Do you feel like in some ways, like the importance of your job just became like if it was here or here, like all of a sudden you feel like it might be up here now?
I do feel that way. I do feel like it was just as important before, selfishly.
Sure.
But yes, I definitely do feel that for sure.
But if I had to take my pickings here on like who would get laid off first, it's probably going to be either me or Connor, not you, because I think your job is like so important now,
Whoa, don't throw us under the bus. Hey, listen, Caleb, we can work together. Right?
Nice.
We can work together, Caleb.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of that.
Nobody's getting laid off, by the way. Nobody's getting laid off, but everyone who's in the graphic design world, everyone who's social media right now. I mean, if you didn't think your job matters, now hopefully you realize your job really, really matters. And I feel like in so many ways, like we've all almost become like we've had to become like designers and at least digital content creators, right? I mean, even me doing this today, I'm like, it's because I'm creating content. And so, and I'm trying to figure out ways to reach people and keep our community going. So Connor,
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. Tell me why you think it's great.
Well, I think at the end of this, our world was obviously like, it was a very digital world to begin with, but at the end of this, whenever we come out of this, I think a lot of it's gonna remain.
Right.
I think a lot of us are still gonna be, in the digital world. And I think it's great for everybody to play a small part in that. I think, in the past, you kind of had the guys that have worked for organizations that they've been the digital guys and no one else has really paid attention to it. Or not that no one else thought it was important, but that it wasn't realized as being like such an important vehicle for even, nonprofits like the nonprofits that we work for. And I think that when we come out of this, everyone's going to be a little bit better at being a content creator or someone that can operate in the digital world effectively.
Right.
And I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think in so many ways, we as organizations, we're busy kind of doing whatever we do. If you're a small business owner, you're busy doing what you do. You either sell services, you sell products. If you're a nonprofit, you're busy doing what you do, which is creating maybe services that are helping, for a cause, or in the case of a church, like we're creating services and we're praying for people and we're spiritually taking care of people. And so often it's hard. Like you don't think like, oh, I need to, go post on social media, or I have to keep this up and going. It's like, it's one of those things that it hasn't quite yet, I guess, gotten into our natural rhythms of life. And I would say one of the positive things out of this is, I bet coming out of this, we're going to be all a little bit more in tune with creating digital content and reaching a world more broad, especially for nonprofits who have a message to tell. We're going to be more familiar with it. So I guess that is a good thing. One of the phrases I keep thinking about in this is constraint drives innovation, right? And here we are in constraint, and we're finding that innovation is a result.
Yeah, that's good.
It's interesting, like even like for myself, like working with a generation, which is the generation coming up right now, that this is their world. I feel like being a generation that's gone before them and that's kind of a little further ahead, we're now thinking of ways on how we can continue to elevate where they already are to obviously reach for greater impact. But man, I pray that this actually continues to give them hope, so they can see like opportunities for themselves in this. Like they're so well versed with this technology, and we're still learning it. But I think this is actually a great opportunity to continue to give them now opportunities to come in and say, hey, you guys actually lead the way. You guys work with us. Let's partner together and let's do this together, because you guys are already there. You guys are already before us. And we want to continue just to learn from you. And so I've been learning from, what's crazy, our students and how to use a lot of these things they've been like doing for a long time. And it's really cool just to kind of see where they are and meet them where they are.
Yeah. So how has that changed the way that you approach? I mean, because in some ways, Connor, you've done things, in a way as a youth pastor, bringing students in, having a service, but now you're kind of going into their world. So has it changed, a little bit of your methodology?
Yeah, it's funny. I think first off, now having to be in their world, I'm learning how they think a little bit more, which is awesome. And that's been obviously super helpful. But the methodology has definitely changed from what I'm so used to, which is an in-person, like, hey, let's have a conversation face to face, or, we're gathering in large groups and I'm talking to bigger groups and all that stuff. It's now becoming more personal, and it's all online and it's all digital. And so it's all changing. It's all different. But it's cool to see how we can reach them through a platform that they're so used to, and how we can kind of like adjust ourselves.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to have you guys bear with me for just a minute. So one of the things that we're doing in this live, by the way, we're not going to keep this up for forever. So if you're watching right now, we're testing some new technology for a parent webinar we have later on. And while we're doing it, we're having a conversation. But one of the things that I realize is I can't see comments right now. So I'm going to try to see if I can work it in such a way where I'll be able to see comments while we are running this. And I think I got it now. Let's see. So if you're watching, just hang tight for just a minute. I'd love for you to just go ahead and put in your comments, whatever you feel like posting there, while I get this up and running. Here we go. I think if we do this, so go back to this software here. And let's get rid of that box. And now I can actually see. So we got Sandy Kistner is watching. Hey, Sandy, good to have you. I'm glad you're hanging out. I can see this now, Ariane. Thank you for your help. I can see Leslie was on. I don't know if there still are. Or Jack and Mary Hack, thanks for hanging. And Malik was on. You know, is that Pitbull? Nice. And Caleb, I can see your test, so that's great. So you guys can see me. Let's see if, or I can see your comments now. But let's go ahead and flip over here back to you guys on, that's not going to take us back to Zoom. Let me try to get back to Zoom here. Let's see if I can get you guys back. Hold on one second. There we go. And you guys are back. So there's Connor's beautiful face. All right. Can't see or hear Connor or Caleb, FYI. But now you can see them, and I bet you can hear them. Connor was just talking about how he is learning so much from teenagers, the digital natives of this world, on how to reach them. And Caleb was talking about how important he is. Right, Caleb?
Throw me under the bus.
Technically, that was me talking about how important you are. So Ariane says now she can hear. Thank you for jumping on air and helping me test this. Looks like it's working. So here's the good news. You guys ready for this? Go follow Go Journey Church, because later on tonight at 8 p.m., we are going to be doing a webinar, a parent webinar through Zoom, but we wanted to figure out if we can go ahead and broadcast this as well on Facebook Live and YouTube. Facebook is for sure working. We're going to go check out YouTube and make sure that's working as well. But the good news is it is working. Nate just joined on. Nate is from Fort Myers. Nate is actually a video guy. Like, he's long-term in a video world. Used to work for a news company for a very long time. But Connor is also a video student, Nate. So Connor, tell me one thing that you've learned about video that's just new for you in the last, like, couple weeks, even, like, you know, with all this new technology that we have to kind of get better at.
Yeah. So I would say I've been learning kind of the live format of stuff, but I've been actually learning kind of the importance of simply just creating content that students are looking at. So even you and I had a conversation a little bit ago regarding, like, hey, students, they love the well-produced stuff for certain things. And then, like, for their like average everyday content that's just kind of funny, like most content that's out there right now is kind of like iPhone videos and people just doing like funny TikTok dances. And so figuring out what production we put to, I guess, what thing that we want to put out. And so is an Instagram live video high production, or is it something that's more personal? And the personal obviously being kind of like an iPhone and you're talking face to face, compared to like maybe when we do a large service, and that's something that is going to be a little bit higher production. And so I think that's what I've been learning recently, like, hey, how are we going to shoot certain things to reach people for the most engagement? And that's been one thing I've been learning.
That's great. Caleb, anything for you? And what have you been learning on video, or just how we communicate in the digital space?
Man, I think for me, the biggest thing that I've been learning is just like the art and skill of communication in general.
Yeah.
It's so, there's so many moving parts in the digital world. There are so many different platforms. There are so many different ways of communicating. And I've also just kind of been learning that, like, hey, sometimes it's not great to just like use platforms as an announcement base. Sometimes, you got to have that healthy ratio of providing content for the sake of content.
Yeah.
Content people care about, and then content that promotes your business as well. So that's been, one of the biggest learning curves for me with this whole thing.
That's great. So anytime by the way, this is just a technology thing. anytime I react to somebody's comments, I kind of lose you guys. So I have to come back to doing it a different way. There we go. And then you come back. Um, so yeah, learning communication and the art of communication has like really been a challenge in the last week that you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick Smith just joined on. He's a youth pastor from South Carolina. Caleb, so you're kind of a social media guru. You're an expert here. What would be like, 3 tips you would give a church or a youth pastor or a nonprofit, or anyone even, like they're sitting at home, they're like, I want to get something out there. I want to just be a part of the conversations, or I want to get my message out. What are 3 tips to just get going?
Yeah, I say the first tip would probably be to have a set strategy. So kind of like our strategy right now as a church is that we want to focus everything around we want to bring hope. We want everything we do to be pointed to the fact that we want to bring hope in as much ways as possible. There's a lot of negativity out there right now. So I think the more that your ministry can be, a voice, a beacon of light in this dark time is just a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Second tip that I would say is be consistent. So set a realistic goal and then consistently hit that goal, whether it's, hey, I'm going to post once a day, or, hey, I'm going to post twice a day, and I'm going to get, 5 to 8 stories on there every single day. Be consistent.
Yeah.
I think people like that. They like, they want to follow pages that have consistency.
Now, when you say consistency, like how consistent would you say?
I mean, be as consistent as you realistically can be. Like for us.
So is there like a set amount of posts you should aim for? Like, or like amount of stories? Like what's kind of a general rule of thumb for that?
So for us, we set our bar at, we want to post, around twice a day. Sometimes we do 3, sometimes we might do 1. But we're going to hit around there, and we're going to hit 5 to 8 stories a day. And I think that's a good realistic bar for us to hit. I know some people do way more than that. But for us, we don't have someone like Elevation, they have 40 people that are working on social media. And we've got, two guys that kind of do it. And it's, so we have to be realistic with that. But we consistently hit it, and we don't try to, set the bar way above us. We're just we can't hit it, and then you're constantly disappointed in yourself because you're not being consistent with yourself, and then you're not being consistent with your user base as well. The third and last tip that I would say is make sure you're just reacting and responding to everybody that's engaging with your platform. I think it's huge for people to see that you are engaging with them. They want to be seen, they want to be heard. And that's just something that's really helped us with our growth on social media, is making sure that we're responding, liking comments, messaging people. When people come in your DMs, don't take more than 24 hours to respond to them. Really get in it, have conversations, and
yeah, that's great. Those are great tips. I love that, and I love the idea of just like you even said, our message is hope right now. I think everyone should be doing that. I think we should all be about spreading hope, whether you're an organization, whether you're a teacher, even if you're a teacher, if you're a college student, if you are a nail salon artist, no matter who you are, I think one thing that we can be about right now in the digital world is just about hope, that reminding one another that it's not always going to be this way, that things are going to be different, that we can share positive stories even, or just even funny stuff to just make you laugh, So you guys want to know, speaking of things that make you laugh, I'll tell you something that made me laugh earlier this week. So we've all been watching the news a lot, right? And so here I am, I'm watching the news, I'm scrolling through the news, Google News, and I come across a headline. Here's legit the headline. Uranus is leaking gas, according to NASA, And I'm like, and the middle schooler in me just came out, and I just started laughing, and I'm like, man, I needed to read a headline that was just funny, because immediately my thought was, Uranus is leaking gas. I'm like, NASA, you're just now figuring that out? Been leaking gas since 1985. So just post funny stuff, post hope though. That's the point. The point is no matter who we are, we don't have to keep posting worry. We don't have to keep posting fear. We don't have to keep reminding everyone how bad it is. We can actually remind people that there's also hope, that there's mercy ships showing up in major cities, that there are organizations feeding people in need, that there is so much good that's taking place. And maybe that sounds, a little Pollyanna, and, I have my head in the sand and I'm not being realistic about the reality. No, I think we're being really real about the reality. I just think we can also be really real about the good stuff. Like, there is good news to celebrate, and we need to do it. We need to celebrate the good stuff, right? Connor, what would be one word of hope you would give to those that are watching right now?
Yeah, I would personally say, just because it looks like right now we're in a season that's a little unknown. It doesn't mean that we give up. It doesn't mean that we stop striving for our dreams. It doesn't mean we stop striving for our goals. It doesn't mean that we even stop striving for what means the most to us. In fact, those things now, they just actually become that much greater. And that's what's kind of been driving me in this season, is the things that matter most now just matter that much more. And it puts things into perspective. And I would even add to that, kind of to what I'm saying, let your perspective change. Don't focus too much on kind of like what you were saying, what's out there, that's this fear, it's this anxiety, but actually focus on the things that you have right in front of you. And maybe it's your family, maybe it's your child, maybe it's your loved one, maybe it's a friend, and let that be what gets you through this season.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you found that, some people are turning to faith more in this time?
It's funny. My wife and I were talking today, and we were saying, like, it seems like so many awesome stories of faith, so many awesome stories of Jesus are actually happening right now. And, we can think, man, that sounds impossible, but it's actually very possible. And I think it's possible because this didn't surprise God. This didn't surprise Jesus. In fact, Jesus says, like, in these times and these problems, like, he's actually going to be very much so present. And then we can take heart because he's actually overcome all of it. And so people are looking to Jesus, and so many great faith stories are coming along, and I'm seeing blessing in them of what seems to be like craziness. And I think that's really, really encouraging to me, and I hope it encourages you guys as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks again. Thanks for watching. The whole purpose of what we're doing right now is we're actually testing some new technology. We have a parent webinar tonight that it's actually going to be on Zoom, but we are going to broadcast it on Facebook Live and on YouTube. If you want to be a part of that, go to gojourneychurch.com. Journey Church is hosting this parent webinar. You can watch it on the live stream on Facebook, on their live stream, or you can watch it on their YouTube, or you can go to my Instagram page, or I think I posted it earlier today on Facebook as well. And you can click that link, you can register, and you can actually be a part of the webinar, not just watching, but actually be a part of it by commenting and letting us know what you're thinking. So feel free to do that. But we're going to let this live end and just say thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging with us. Thank you, Connor and Caleb, for all the tips that you've given. You guys are amazing, and I'm so thankful that we get to work together and continue to bring hope into this world. So thanks, everybody.
Man.
Love you guys.
Have a great day. We will see you another time. Thanks.